Good Tuesday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Jesse Peterson, and let's go ahead and talk about the weather for your Tuesday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight. But as always, first, what we do before we go on and talk about the weather is first off talk about our current conditions and what's currently going on throughout and what's going on towards tomorrow, long term future, short term future, whatever it may be. And we just talk about all of that stuff in general. So we're going to first off talk about what's on tap for tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about current conditions. We're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about tomorrow. Going into Thursday, Friday, short term future, and specifically those significant warm ups with record challenging highs. And then we'll talk about our long term future, late week into the weekend, increasing unsettled conditions and rain potential as we go into this weekend. And then also, we're going to talk about definitely a sharp cool down as we go into, especially Saturday night going into Sunday. So that's what we're looking at, really, in terms of our what's on tap for tonight. If you've not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Right now, we have around a good, around like a good 5-ish people in here. And we only have 2 likes. So if you're a part of the 3 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Also, make sure you go and hit the subscribe button. It's free. You can change your mind at any time if you ever want to. And like I said, it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you a single dime or single penny. It doesn't cost you anything. Just go in and do so. And also share. Share with your friends, your family members, acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to, because it helps us out. So starting off, as we always do, let's go on and talk about our current conditions throughout the state of South Carolina. So looking at our current, right now you can see that there is absolutely nothing right now going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina. But if we scroll our way out, obviously you can see we do in fact have a huge system going throughout the Midwest, as well as over there inside of the northern central plains as well. And not only rainfall, but also a little bit of a mix and maybe even some snowfall as well going on in northeastern Montana as well as northern North Dakota. You also do have some snowfall going on over inside of California, going on over in Nevada, Utah, and even Colorado. And then maybe even some snowfall with some rainfall as well going on over into California, over inside of the Pacific Northwest. But look over here on the eastern side. We do have some snowfall going on up there in Maine. But other than that, nice and dry going on throughout the southeast. Now, as we go into our cloud cover for the most part seems to be more on more on the mostly cloudy side. You see cloud cover going on up there inside of the upstate, the PD areas, the Grand Strand areas, even inside the low country as well, and the southern Midlands. All areas are receiving cloud cover right now. Even if you go into cloud cover for your future, you go on and push this forward. Here we are starting off here at 9 o'clock p.m. Push this forward all the way through tonight, going into like tomorrow morning. We are still cloudy even as we get to 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Going into Wednesday, 3 p.m., going to 7 p.m., all the way to around 12 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Cloud cover still stays. Then as you go into Thursday later during the morning time, going into the noon time frame, even going into around 2, 3, 4 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, that cloud cover will start to try and make its way out by the time you make it into like the afternoon, evening time frame. But like I said, cloud cover will still be the main story. Current temperatures right now, you have around a good 52 in Somerville, 52 in Charleston, as well as 54 in Beaufort. You also do have around a good 53 in Hilton Island, 51 in Georgetown, and 53 in Murray's Inlet, 50 in Myrtle Beach, and 48 in Conway, 50 in North Myrtle Beach, and even around a good 55 in Orangeburg, 53 inside of Columbia, Sumter, even around a good 51 in Aiken and Union, 53 in Greenville, and 53 in Spartanburg, 51 in York and Rock Hill and Lancaster. Now, for your air quality, for the most part, air quality is still good for the majority of us. Now, we do have some yellows going on for the moderate area. Goes on for Augusta, goes on over towards Greenwood as well. Goes on just to the west of Florence near Hartsville, near Camden as well. Greenwood's included in there. McCormick is included in there. And a lot of other areas like Aiken, Edgefield, Saluda, all of these areas are included in a moderate area. Now, that's not quite the unhealthy for sensitive groups yet, but it's getting there. But it's not quite there yet. Now, what about for our low temperatures? Low temperatures for tonight has around a good 48 in Greenville, 48 in Spartanburg, as well as a good 48 in Rock Hill, 47 in Sharon, 48 in Dillon, as well as a good 50 in Myrtle Beach, 49 in Georgetown, and 50 in Moncks Corner, 51 in Charleston, as well as 49 in Walterboro, 53 Hilton Head Island, as well as a good 50 in Aiken, 50 Barnwell, and Sumter, Columbia, all 50s. And so we're seeing definitely a warmer night. Definitely a warmer night as we go into tonight. Now, if we talk about our high temperatures for tomorrow, around a good 68 in Greenville and Spartanburg, as well as Rock Hill, 69 in Anderson, 70 in Greenwood and Newberry, 74 in Columbia, and even around a good 74 in Sumter, 73 in Florence, and 73 in Dillon, 74 in Kingstree, and 74 in Orangeburg, 74 Moncks Corner, and 69 in Charleston, 68 Hilton Head, as well as a good 71 in Georgetown. Now, in terms of our rainfall for the most part, not really expected as we go throughout the next 24 hours. Yes, no rainfall is expected as we go throughout the next 24 hours, so do not worry about that. Do not worry about any sort of rain gear for any sort of accumulable precipitation. Now, does that mean precipitation for the most part is not going to happen? No. It just means that, like I said, accumulable precipitation is not expected, so we're not expecting anything to accumulate. Now, as we go over into the crazy score for tonight, we're at a 26. You might be asking, why are we at a 26 right now? Well, for the most part, it's mainly because of these cloudy conditions. Cloudy conditions still going on throughout the state, even as we go throughout tonight. The increasing clouds also. We're also going to talk about how there's a little bit of a moderate wind that develops. I mean, we're going to see gusts getting up to 15, 18, maybe even close to 20 miles per hour, especially in those open areas. So winds will be up a little bit. They will be up a little bit tonight. Patchy fog, potential late night into the early morning, and then dry and settling overnight. So, no rainfall really is expected tonight, especially no accumulation as well. Now, what about for our SPC outlook? Well, we have a lot of areas outside of South Carolina, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking at day one, starting off with tonight. Obviously, we're not seeing any sort of thunderstorm activity tonight, so, we're good there. Even as we move our way over into tomorrow, we are good there as well. You do not have to watch out for any sort of thunderstorm activity. And even in terms of Thursday's conditions, it looks like that we are good here as well. Even if we go into the fire weather, we're good as well. Excessive rainfall, go throughout day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. We are all good and all clear. Let's go in now and look at the models. So we're going to start off here. And you were going to start off at 9 o'clock. Make sure you pay attention to the time at the bottom part of your screen. And so you're going to remember, I just said earlier, that precipitation, especially the accumulable precipitation, is not expected at this time. So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that any sort of precipitation that falls throughout the entire state of South Carolina, doesn't matter if it's in the upstate, Midlands, Low Country, Grand Strand, PD areas, doesn't matter, wherever it may be, precipitation won't accumulate up to 100th of an inch. And if you push this forward, this model actually has some rainfall maybe trying to move through. Now, we get to around 7 o'clock in the morning, you're not seeing anything. But 8 o'clock in the morning, you're just seeing like a little random isolated shower pop up. Even as you go into around 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning, has some isolated drizzles to maybe even light shower activity going on throughout the upstate. And then it kind of tries to die off as you get into the afternoon, but doesn't quite. I mean, even by 3 o'clock p.m., you're seeing some isolated shower and more like drizzle activity going on in parts of the upstate. But is it enough to accumulate? Well, even as we get into around 6 o'clock p.m., you're seeing some isolated shower activity going on inside of the eastern PD areas in the eastern Low Country. But if we go on real quick and look at the total QPF, the HRRR here tends to say that maybe 100th of an inch to maybe even 200ths of an inch. So very little rainfall that definitely will not help out our drought, not one bit. But shows 100th of an inch to maybe even 200ths of an inch showing itself over here inside of the state of South Carolina. Now, mainly being inside the upstate, and like I said, this isn't the biggest deal. Nothing really to bring out all the rain gear for. Nothing definitely to bring out, you know, boots, all that kind of stuff. I mean, like, that's just not expected, and that's not really practical right now, especially if we're only getting 100th of an inch to maybe even 200ths of an inch. I mean, that's barely anything. Now, if you continue through, though, going here into Wednesday at 9 o'clock p.m., tomorrow, you can see for the most part, I mean, there still is some isolated shower activity going on. Now, that's past the 24-hour mark that we just looked at, but definitely seeing an increase in coverage of shower activity going on Thursday. I mean, here's Wednesday night going to Thursday morning. Here's Thursday afternoon right here. So, yeah, we definitely are seeing an increase in rainfall activity as we go into Thursday. That's definitely something to look for. But tomorrow, if there is a little light shower or drizzle activity that goes on, like I said, it's not really going to be much at all. Even if we go into the official forecast from the National Weather Service and we look at the WPC, we go on and scroll our way out. I mean, this is 24 hours right here. This goes all the way into Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. The WPC doesn't have anything really in terms of rainfall either. So, honestly, both the National Weather Service and the WPC are both in agreement here. So, maybe it's probably because of too little confidence. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. Either that or it's just one model run that they're just looking at. Remember, that's the HRRR. Even if we go to the, let's go to like the 23Z, see what the 23Z has to say. It's a bit further out, but definitely still has some isolated shower activity going on. And some of that may also be some fog activity as well, because obviously fog contains moisture. So some of this also may even be some early morning fog activity. So make sure, you keep that in mind as well. But now that that's the short term out the way, I just closed out everything. So we're going to go in and do a brief intermission real quick. Let's go in and talk about the long-term future. What do I mean by the long-term future? Well, just everything that I've talked about, but further into the future. We're going to start off here at the 54-hour mark where we just ended off at Thursday, 7 o'clock p.m. You want to push this forward, and I told you that there would be an increase of shower activity as we go further into the week, and that seems like what we're looking at. Here we are at Friday at 7 o'clock in the morning. You have rainfall now going on throughout a good amount of the state, from the upstate all the way down towards the coastal areas. Now, here's 1 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon. Here's 10 o'clock p.m. on Friday. Even going into Saturday, look at Saturday. We go into Saturday, 1 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. You're starting to see some heavy rainfall activity starting to go on by the time you get into the early morning hours on Saturday. And even as you go into the afternoon time frame as well, you also can see some light to moderate rainfall even as you go into Saturday afternoon. And so that goes all the way through to Saturday night going into Sunday morning. And like I said, that cold air will move its way through as we go throughout Saturday into Sunday. And that brings that cooler, drier air from that cold front. And it will push all of that rainfall out. Even as you get into around Monday, going into Tuesday, going into Wednesday, you're seeing way more drier conditions than what we just saw a couple of days in the past, whether it be from Wednesday to Sunday or Wednesday to Saturday or even Wednesday to Friday. It doesn't matter. You are seeing a lot more drier conditions. Now, as we get into Wednesday night, I can't really say too much for that because definitely some rainfall seems to be possible as you go into Wednesday night. But that's 200 hours out. Things will change. Things always change this far out. And we've seen it time and time again. Going all the way into Thursday, going into 10 o'clock in the morning, going all the way into 1 o'clock p.m. High pressure builds again. Another cold front seems to be trying to move in sometime midweek next week. So, warm air comes back, and as soon as that warm air gets in place, then it looks like, okay, we're actually, staying here inside of the nice conditions. Oh, what's that? It's time for us to cool down again from a cold front. And that's exactly what we see here on Wednesday. Going through Friday, going into Saturday of next week. And then things just overall just way too far out to talk about at that point. But one thing that I do want to go on and mention is that the cold fronts that we will be having, like I said, just a recap, be coming through going into like Saturday night, Sunday morning of this weekend, and then another one as we go into next week, kind of like the midweek time frame into Wednesday. So now that that's all I really have to say in terms of the long-term future, just know that if we go back onto the what's on tap, talked about tonight, talked about Thursday and Friday. For the most part, well, we'll talk about the warm up in just a second. Same thing with the weekend transition. We'll talk about in depth in just a second. But we did talk about the weekend as well, the increasing unsettled conditions and rain potential. But the main thing that I also do want to talk about is what I've been talking about the past couple of nights, and that is obviously this warm air. Now, you may have noticed with the low temperatures, if we go back and look at the low temperatures, you see those low temperatures being in the 50s, the high 40s. That is not what we were just looking at last night. That is not what we were just looking at the night before. We were looking at temperatures way lower than that. And so you can already see these low temperatures are trying to kind of go up more and more, showing that sign of a warm up on the way. If you go in and look at the models, we're going to start off here at, let's say, Wednesday, 1 o'clock in the morning. We are 5 to 10 degrees above average. 5 to 10 degrees above average. You go all the way through into Wednesday, like afternoon. I mean, you're seeing temperatures now 5, 10, maybe even close to 15 degrees above average as you go into tomorrow. You go into Wednesday night, going into Thursday morning, you're seeing temperatures now 10 to around 20-ish degrees above average as you go into Thursday. Okay, and then what do you see on Friday? Friday morning, going into Friday afternoon, temperatures 20 to 25 degrees above average. Now, not everybody will be 20 to 25 degrees above average, like down here in Charleston. Only going to be around single digits, possibly. But it is definitely a huge warm up for a lot of inland areas, especially that upstate area. Now, if you go all the way through, going even into Friday night, going into Saturday, I mean, you're still seeing temperatures 20 to 25 degrees above average as you go into Saturday morning. So, a warm up, obviously, we've known that this warm up has been coming. I've been harping about this warm up for so long now. I mean, I can even go back and check real quick and see the first time that I started talking about this warm up. I started talking about this warm up. Uh, let's see, right here. I talked about it 3 days ago. This warming trend next week needs to be watched. So I even said, well, that was from the week before there. But our warm temperatures will take an abrupt break. That's when that cooler air came in. That was around 6 days ago. But 3 days ago, I said this warming trend needs to be watched, and that's when I first mentioned it. So, I mean, I've been talking about this for a good little bit now. So everybody that has been watching should have known at least that this is coming and that this was expected. Now, if we go into the actual temperatures as well, right here to actual temperatures, right here all the way from 4 o'clock in the morning. You push this forward, going all the way into Wednesday afternoon now. At this point, you see 70s going on. You see some 60s going on, but for the most part, definitely warmer. Going into Wednesday night, going into Thursday. Look at Wednesday night right here. Temperatures now only getting to around 55 for lows, getting all the way up to around like 60-ish. Even as you go into Thursday, here's Thursday, 1 o'clock p.m., 4 o'clock p.m. I mean, you have 70s going on throughout the Midlands. You have 70s going on throughout the upstate as well. Then as you go all the way into Thursday night, going into Friday morning, I mean, temperatures being in the 60s, maybe even mid-60s as well. Then as you go into Friday during the daytime, you see 80s going on, 80s throughout the low country, 80s throughout the Grand Strand areas. So this is definitely going to be one of the hottest time frames that we've seen in a good little minute. I mean, the last time that we've had 80 degrees in the state of South Carolina, I mean, it has to have been, I mean, sometime probably like October 2025, possibly. Let me check and see the last time that I have even gotten into the 80s. I mean, if I check right now, let me go to my weather station. So far for the year of 2026, I've not reached 80 degrees yet. not reach 80. You know, we go into back all the way into last year. I mean, I still don't see 80s. The only time I really saw 80s was actually November 19th. That was 79.5, which is not directly 80, but that is pretty close. But when did I see 80 directly? It wasn't until August 8th. No, not August 8th. October 8th, excuse me. October 8th. 85.6 degrees on October the 8th. So that was the last time that we've seen 80s going on just throughout the state. Is that week right there in early October. I do apologize for my screen, but that is just whenever I switch tabs, it just shows the Carolina Panthers logo. But everybody knows that I'm a Panthers fan at this point, so I don't think it really matters that much. But if we go all the way through, again, I mean, first time seeing 80s all the way, like I said, through until like October-ish. You continue your way forward even more, and then, like I said, enjoy it while it lasts, because Sunday comes along, and I mean, it just completely drops everything back down here Sunday, 10 o'clock in the morning, going into Sunday at 7 o'clock p.m. You know, we're back down to the 40s, and even below freezing. I told you all the other day as well that freezing temperatures were not done. We are not done with these freezing temperatures. They will be coming back. And honestly, seem like they will be trying to make a return Sunday night going into Monday morning. That's when they seem like they will be trying to come back. Even as you go into Monday night into Tuesday, I mean, we're seeing widespread 20s throughout the state. So we are not done. We are not done. Make sure that you are prepared for these freezing temperatures to come back as we go into next week. But that's pretty much all I have to say in terms of the forecast for the long term. Make sure that you're going to take everything, you know, if you have any questions about it, go on and leave the chat. I'm here. I'm here right now, so I will go on and answer anything that you have. You want to know about a specific location, obviously, you know, if it's a long ways away in terms of temperatures, you know, may not be exactly accurate for right now, but, you know, I can answer anything that anybody has. But we're going to go on now and talk with the audience, and we'll come back if anybody has any questions over here. So we're going to start off first. My Aunt Lula was here first. She says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. My Aunt Cheryl comes in and says, good evening, nephew. Good evening to you as well. And then also Miss Chris says, good evening, everyone. I hope you had a great day. I did. Thank you so much for asking as well. Got to 72 degrees here at Moncks Corner. Felt amazing. Today at my house, let me see. I just had my thing pulled up. We're going to go back to all time, or year, excuse me, all the way over towards 2026. And it looks like for the most part, my high temperature today was around a good, there we go, 69-ish, 68.9. So I'm kind of right, kind of a little bit less than where you were, so around 69 or so. Milo says, prayerfully, everyone had a great day. Well, I did, thank you so much. Today in Georgetown, we had a beautiful day. Great to hear that. Mr. Chris also says, please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button if you have not already. Also, share with everyone that you know. It's free. It helps the channel grow. Push this channel out. Absolutely. Right now, so far, we've had a good amount of people in, and we only have 5 likes. That's it, just 5. I mean, if you're a part of the group that have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. I mean, it's free. You can change your mind at any time. I mean, so far, it seems like we've had around 10-ish people watching. We should have about 10-ish likes right now. So go on and hit the like button. Currently, it's 54 degrees here in Moncks Corner and clear right now as you speak. Well, right now at my house, seems like that it is around 51, so a bit less. Milo says the temperature in Georgetown reached 63 degrees. Not as high over there in Georgetown, it seems. Currently, it's 48. Continue our way down. That says, good evening, Joseph, and the 360 Weather family. I trust all is well with everyone. All is well with me. Thank you so much for that. And then continue our way down even more. Ms. Chris says, yes, and being close to the lake, I'll be watching out. Absolutely. Make sure you watch out for that fog. He also says, and if the fog hits, and you go out, make sure you use the low beams headlights and fog lights if you have them. Absolutely. Do not use high beam lights. Do not use high beam lights for fog. And please do not be one of those people that are outside with no lights on at all, and it's foggy outside. Please do not be one of those people. that go out with no lights on and it's foggy outside. Please. Please. And then Trail says, greetings everyone, greetings to you. And Milo says, I've got a remedy, I don't drive at night. Well, I can't blame you. Do not blame you at all. And then Thad says, current temperature is 71 degrees, nice and mild. Well, that's great to hear from you as well. Glad that it is actually pretty comfortable. I mean, current temperature is 71 at 8:27 p.m. for you. Definitely not bad. But that's all that I have to say here. So let's go on now and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations outside of South Carolina? What are you talking about? And why are we talking about areas outside of South Carolina? Well, it's because we have people outside of the state who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly and their location isn't even mainly South Carolina, we go on and give them that forecast for them. So we're going to start off with San Antonio first. You have low temperatures tonight at around 61, high temperatures tomorrow at around 80, low temperatures tomorrow night at 62. Precipitation, not expected, but patchy fog definitely will be an issue as you go throughout tomorrow night. So make sure that you're paying attention for that. In terms of severe weather and excessive rainfall is not expected, but severe weather is, and it's not because of convection or thunderstorm activity, it's fire. There is a 40 to a 69% chance of fire weather within 12 miles of a given point. So you have to watch out for fire weather conditions on Saturday, February the 21st, 2026. And we honestly are going to see that a lot throughout the central U.S., rather it be throughout Texas. I mean, Oklahoma, I just turned on my phone, around 4 or 5-ish o'clock or so. And, I just see pictures and videos of wildfires going on throughout Texas and Oklahoma. And you can see it on satellite, you can see it on a lot of things going on. So this fire weather right now is no joke. So when I say do not burn anything, do not try to do anything that has to do with burning anything outside, I really do mean it, because there's already wildfires that have already started. Now, what about for your long-term future, or for your week at least? Looks like that you will be actually cooling down as you go into the weekend. We've been saying that, but you will kind of rebound back a little bit, back into like the 70s at least as you go into like a little bit later next week. So, we'll see what happens there. And precipitation for you, not really expected. So, not really going to see anything there. Might be a little bit breezy as you go into this weekend, Saturday going into Saturday night, gusts as high as 20, 25-ish miles per hour. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, low temperatures tonight at around 46, high temperatures tomorrow at around 68, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 55. Precipitation not expected right now. In terms of severe weather and excessive rainfall, not expected for your week and for your next week. Looks like that it will be a rainy weekend. Thursday, 50% chance of rainfall. Friday, 70%. Saturday, 50%. Sunday, 50%. So it's going to continue to kind of stay rainy as you go all the way from Thursday through into Sunday. So that's kind of a bummer, especially if you have stuff planned. And then in terms of your temperatures, unfortunately, temperatures will be cooling back down. Cold front will be passing through. You'll have temperatures back into the 50s for highs, maybe even the 40s as you go into next week. Then for Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at around 36, high temperatures tomorrow at around 46, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 38-ish or so. Now, unfortunately, due to some problems with YouTube a bit earlier, I don't know if y'all have already been seeing it or not, but people right now are going crazy because YouTube is actually down. Honestly, kind of not really shocked, but definitely I'm happy to have the amount of people that I have on right now, just because YouTube is having problems. But I've not been able to go on and completely finish the Philadelphia and the Duncan forecast, so I have it over here. But temperature is pretty much alright. Dense fog as you go into tonight and into tomorrow. Patchy fog again will be another issue as you go into tomorrow night as well. That comes with a 20% chance of rainfall tomorrow night. So, looks like that you will be actually cooling down, but almost warming up. Like Saturday, you have a high of around 50 degrees, and then you'll cool down 37 on Monday, 33 on Tuesday. So, a lot of things going on here. And in terms of also your precipitation for the future, it looks like that you will also have kind of a rainy weekend, maybe except for like Saturday, like Saturday during the day. But for the most part, I mean, you're seeing rainfall Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with a 90% chance of rainfall, and then you have Saturday, which you're good, but then Saturday night going into Sunday, going into Sunday night, and even rain and snow is likely as you go into tomorrow, not tomorrow, but excuse me, Sunday, going into Sunday night, and then it will just change to maybe even all snow as you go into Sunday night. So, just some stuff to just take into account. Just some stuff to go on and take into account. And then finally, the last location being Duncan, Oklahoma. By the way, severe weather, excessive rainfall not expected for you if you were wondering that. For Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight at around 48, high temperatures tomorrow at 75, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 50. Precipitation not expected at this time. In terms of your severe weather and excessive rainfall, not expected either, but on Friday night going into Saturday, you may have a little chance of rain and potentially some snow flurries to go on with you as you go throughout Saturday during like the early morning hours. So it's possible. It's possible. But it's there right now. And obviously, your severe weather, which I hope I didn't say you didn't have any severe weather to not account to, because you do, on starting off as early as tomorrow, Wednesday, February the 18th, 2026, you have an elevated fire weather condition as you go into tomorrow. So make sure that you are paying attention for that. Make sure that you are also not burning anything if you absolutely do not have to. And also making sure that you know where your evacuation plan is just in case if a wildfire starts near you. You know where to get out at. So just keep that in mind. I mean, like I said, we're already seeing wildfires going on in like western portions of Oklahoma and Panhandle of Texas. So, we'll see stuff going on like that. And even as you go further into the future as well, I mean, you're not only done on tomorrow, but also as you go into excuse me, let me go in and push that. There we go. All right. But even as you go a little bit into the future as well, that might also be another issue that you might have to watch out for. Now, for right now, it really just looks like parts of Wednesday and Thursday, but it could potentially spread a little bit more. Thursday, you have another 40 to a 69% chance of fire weather as you go into Thursday, so make sure that you're watching out for that. And I think that that's all that I have to say here. So let's see what is going on right now throughout the entire U.S. That includes South Carolina. That includes the 4 areas that we just talked about. But just kind of just recap and see what's going on in terms of news-wise throughout the entire U.S. Well, gusty winds and low relative humidity will bring critical fire weather to the central and the southern high plains on Wednesday. 2 Pacific storms will also continue to impact the mountains of the western U.S. into Thursday with gusty winds and heavy snow. Heavy snow and gusty winds will also continue to impact the northern plains into the central Great Lakes into Wednesday. We also will see some dense fog ongoing throughout the northeast, especially the coastal areas from Philadelphia to Baltimore to over there inside of New York City, over there into the coastal areas of Connecticut. So, just a lot of things going on up there as well. And then, I mean, just look at this map right here. Look at how active everybody is. And then just look at the southeast, the south central U.S., for example. Just nice. Even the Ohio Valley as well. So just, we're kind of in our break period right now. While we're having nice, having fun out in the sun. Everybody else receiving wildfire conditions, receiving storm activity, rather be with heavy rainfall, gusty winds, snow, blizzard conditions. No, that's not blizzard condition. What is that? Well, yes, that is blizzard conditions. So just all of that going on, even severe weather inside of southwestern California as well. While we're just down here having fun in the sun. So that's something at least to know and to at least be good with. And also, I do apologize for this, but I also did forget to mention that there was an earthquake. No, it was not in the Somerville-Latson area. It was actually in the same area that we were talking about not too long ago, Irma. South Carolina. They had an earthquake. Let's see, we were talking about, I think, on the 13th. On the 13th, they had that 2.8 magnitude earthquake. Then they had another one on the 15th. It was just a regular magnitude 2 on the 15th. That was Sunday. Sunday at around 11:57 p.m., so getting close to 12 a.m. And then they had another one on the 16th as well, yesterday evening. They had a 1.8 over there in Irmo, South Carolina. So very, very close. If you have no idea where Irmo is, it's very, very close to Columbia. So that is pretty much where it is. But no new earthquakes down here inside the low country area, so that's good there. And, it seems like that for right now we might be done. But again, obviously we cannot predict earthquakes. The amount of people I actually see of people trying to predict earthquakes is actually kind of laughable. But no, we cannot predict earthquakes. That is not what we cannot do that. So if you see somebody predicting an earthquake, they're most likely lying to you. But that's all I have to say. Let me check out the chat real quick. Trio says, Happy Chinese New Year. Well, same thing to you. New moon in Aquarius. And then also solar eclipse. Let me see. When is... Well, I know the next thing that we're going to have is a lunar eclipse. I know Thad was talking about that not too long ago. That was on, I believe, like, in March? I'll have to check the date on that again. And then Mr. Chris says, yes, YouTube is down. And it also says, everyone, please remember to stay safe, warm, and hydrated. This weather is unpredictable right now. Well, right now, yes, it definitely is. Weather's always unpredictable, always changing, always going from this, that, and the other. So it's always going to be unpredictable, always going to be, just something that we just got to go through and see what happens and always be prepared. Top fans of the night for tonight. Seems like for the most part that it is again that back and forth battle that we've been seeing between Mr. Chris and my Aunt Lula, but it seems obvious that Mr. Chris is still the winner for tonight, having more chats, and then my Aunt Lula at number 2, Trail at number 3. So congratulations to the three of y'all being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m., being here early and being active inside of the chat. So let's go on and give them a round of applause for being the top fans of the night for tonight. But that's all. Make sure that you tune back in tomorrow morning for your Wednesday morning forecast update and be back tomorrow evening for your Wednesday evening forecast update. We're almost halfway through the week. Let's just get through tomorrow, and we will be to the halfway point until we get to Friday and then finally Saturday. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, and make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave.